Hi, this is Dr. Matt Eschler. I am bringing you the fourth video in a four-part series of marriage fundamentals on how to make your marriage amazing. It can take a train wreck marriage and help it be happy, a pretty happy marriage, and it can help it become juicy, fun, and filled with romance and passion. So I hope you listen to this fourth video in the series. I hope you enjoy it. Let us know in the comments. If you haven't listened to the first three, go ahead and go back and look at those. This one is on understanding each other like at a very deep level. The most romantic thing you can do is be understood in a marriage. And so I want to help you be understood. I want to help you understand your lover. I want to help you communicate in a way that you can even complain and fight and argue. And it's all done towards romance, passion, and solutions. Have a listen. Let us know what you think. And we will check in with you later. The final principle I want to talk about today is the principle of understanding. Okay, it's not the principle of being understood. It's not the principle of communication even. Those are both parts of it. If I was to ask you right now, what is the most romantic thing in your marriage or in your relationships, with your love interest? What is the most romantic thing that you can consider doing? Many people think it's sex. Many people think it's being emotionally connected. Many people think it's spending time together with someone that's unconditionally loving and regards you with adoration. All of those things are good. But let me tell you, the most romantic process, it's such a not romantic word, process, but right now can't think of a different word. The most romantic process that you can engage in a relationship is to feel understood. I want you to think about that for a second. Being understood is the most romantic process. All intimacy springs from being understood. Yeah, you can go have sex. You can. Physically, you can go and be intimate. But it's truly intimate. Physical connecting is only truly intimate when you really feel understood by your lover. All of you that have had the experience of just having sex and then had the experience of being completely accepted and understood and then making love, you can see the difference. We all want to be understood. And so part of the dilemma is skipping this thing that we learned in kindergarten. It's skipping this taking turns mentality. And so romantic connections, they come in all kinds of shapes and sizes, but one healthy mandatory process is to learn to listen, to understand. Now, I want you to try this. Next time you're talking with your lover, notice how often you're listening just to respond. Like, okay, planning my response. They're still talking, I'm planning my response. Oh my gosh, I've got 4 things to respond to now, and now I forgot to listen to that last little bit, and so now it's a train wreck. But what if you put you completely on hold, almost did the Freudian blank slate, almost just zero yourself out and just listen to understand them. Lean forward, eye contact, hear their words. Through the process, ask a few questions to clarify. And at the end of the segment, your lover should look at you and say, what's your takeaway from what I just said? What did you hear me say? And then you repeat back in your own words what you heard. And then they'll clarify anything that you didn't quite understand. And you do that until that person feels completely understood. Then the listener that was listening to understand becomes the speaker to share their version or their part. And the listener is now having the opportunity to be the speaker, and the other person in the relationship just listens. They listen to understand, not to respond. There's no debate here. There's no agreement being made here. There's just two people trying to see the world through the other's eyes. Now, on the other side of that, there's an ability or a process for making agreements. So by the time you're both completely understood, intimacy's there. You both feel defenses are down. If it's an argument and you've got different points of view, different ideas, your walls are down, you're humble, you're both feeling cooperated with. We can then assess where we agree and make note of where agreements need to be made for shared vision. So that's why it's so important to listen to understand. It's a principle. I call it the principle of understanding. If any of you have had friends that are good at this, I've got one guy that's a super good friend of mine that is such a good listener. I've got a wife that is such a good listener. And it's like, I feel like I can just talk and share. I don't get interrupted. I don't have them push back until it's their turn. And I really find myself letting my guard down and relaxing with these people. And you want to be that kind of a person. So finally, here's the last section, and then I'm going to cut you loose. It's time to learn how to invest. Remember I said invest, invest, invest? I'm going to give you some assignments here. Get together with your partner. Get together and take turns sharing your top 5 needs with each other. Might take a minute. It might take a minute to develop those needs and write them down. I'd suggest maybe each of you have some kind of a notebook and just write down your top 5 needs and what they mean. So if one of my top needs is to be intimate, and let's say my wife immediately thinks that all I think about is sex and I just want sex. And what I'm really talking about is I like dating, I like holding hands, I like watching movies, I like making love, I like all of those things. So if she understood me, she would see that need as romantic, not just taking. So it's really important that we express our needs with definitions so that the other can really get to know you. So get together, take turns, define your needs, ask questions of each other, really practice listening to understand. Second assignment, create your very own personal governing purpose. We talked about what that was. It's not a list of goals. It's an open-ended visionary mission statement. It's literally the guide for your needs to get met. It's the way that you hold your needs captive to your values. Make sure that inside of your governing purpose is your character and your values and some of the processes and things that you would like to be as well as do. Final assignment. I want you to think through this lens. This is something that we haven't talked about yet. A marital governing purpose is the joining of your 2 whole needed purposes. So my purpose and my wife's purpose put together into one master family purpose. This is what we use to teach our kids. It informs us of our decisions. It informs us of the things that we want to do with our life. It also gives us things to teach in family nights and family councils. So create a marital governing purpose. I want you to look at your marriage relationship as a living entity, something that grows and progresses. See, we don't stumble into a marriage. We don't fall in love, really. We create marriages. We create love. We generate it through careful, studious investment. And so I want you to create a marital governing purpose statement. I want you to use it to manage conflict in the future. We'll have a whole episode on that because really arguing within a marriage is good. If we listen to understand, if we have a marital governing purpose that is our guide, there's no use me arguing. I want to raise our kids and become bank robbers. There's nothing in my wife and I's marital governing purpose that states that we want to be bank robbers. And so we want to be honest people. So there's certain things that we don't have to argue about. But when there is disagreements, if we listen to understand, if we understand each other's needs, if we understand what the speaker's talking about and what need they're trying to get met, and if we're then able to fully express ourselves, we can see where we stand together on a firm foundation of shared vision and then make very specific agreements to get to a shared vision. And that's why arguing's good. Without arguing, we become roommates. We become people that get our needs met willy-nilly other places, which a lot of the time that's okay, but not when we just ignore each other because we're not willing to invest in our marriage. So that marital governing purpose is where you take yours and your partner's purpose, your whole governing purpose as an individual, and combine them using very specific language in what your marital governing purpose is. Now, the marital governing purpose has to support your individual purpose. Like if your marital governing purpose is to be an honest person and frugal, and your individual purpose is to be the best bank robber ever and to spend lots of money on toys, see that the marital purpose and your personal purpose will put you at odds and you'll just be miserable. So make sure that you're with someone that you're compatible with. Make sure that that person that you're compatible with is able to negotiate a marital purpose with you. Dr. Matt Eschler here with your episode of The Counseling Experience. I am your relationship fitness coach. Thank you so much. We'll tune in again for another episode.